Recorded live right here in Little Rock, Arkansas. It's time again for Larry's Rants, Raves, and Reviews. And now here's Larry.
Hey folks, welcome to this episode. We are entitling this episode From Battlefield to Ballot Box, and I'll tell you why in just a second. But we're going to be discussing the executive department of this state, the state of Arkansas. It has the executive department is made up of the governor, lieutenant governor, the secretary of state, treasurer of state, auditor of state, attorney general, and commissioner of state lands. Now, it just so happens that at the current time, the state of Arkansas, the Republican Party has a triplex, Randy. It's the Republican Party controls the offices of the governor, the secretary of state, and the attorney general. And so a lot of folks may or may not know exactly who has what offices and what they actually do.
I don't.
Well, but we need to, get better educated around here, don't we? Mm. So that's why we have a very special guest. His name is Bryan Norris, and he is running for office of Secretary of State for the state of Arkansas. Bryan, welcome to our show.
Larry, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a privilege to have you. You come highly recommended from a good friend of ours, Randy Sims, and so we're excited about that and excited to have you here on the show. And we want to get to know you. And we want to talk a little bit about what's going on in your life and how's the election doing. But kind of first, I went and asked AI, what all do you really do as Secretary of State? And they kind of ran through the elections and voting. Mm-hmm. You're in charge of business and commercial services, state capital stewardship, the records and archivist of duties. Mm-hmm. So you make sure that everything is archived and taken care of properly, education and outreach, and I don't know, some other things. But, the first number one thing that jumps off of this is the elections and voting, which we'll get into with you. We want to talk about that. But first of all, let's meet you. And let's talk about what's going on in your life and kind of where you've been and all of that good stuff.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell the folks exactly who Bryan really is?
I'm a normal Arkansan that
There you
loves
go.
his country.
Okay.
Loves his state.
I love that.
I'm a born and raised Arkansan, born in Truman, Arkansas.
All right.
I was born to a single mom. I grew up like a lot of Arkansans do, poor.
Okay.
I mean, we're a poor state, and there's a line throughout the state between the have and have-nots. There's not that very many in the middle.
Okay.
We do definitely have that, but there's a severe outnumber in the poverty level in the state. But I didn't grow up wanting for anything. I had everything that I needed, and I didn't really realize how poor we were until I left for the military and came back and saw the abject poverty that I grew up in, which is a testament to my mother and how she was able to provide for us and made sure that we had everything that we needed. And my community supported me as well, too. It was a small town. We started in the projects and then moved outside of town. And I'd walk to school a lot, back and forth. And teachers would often open their doors to me before school and after school to help me with issues that I was struggling with. I had dyslexia as a kid. Oh. And so they'd recognize that. And I had a teacher for a couple of years that opened her door up every morning before school for a couple of hours. And she really helped me with my dyslexia. And it paid off. I got into Arkansas State University. When I was attending university in Jonesboro, 9/11 happened. So best laid plans, sometimes life intervenes. And I felt the call to serve my country.
Yeah.
And I went straight to the recruiting station. I had no desire of ever joining the military. It wasn't even on my radar. I wanted to go be a radiologist. That's what I was
okay.
In A State 4, they had a great radiology program there. That was everything that I wanted to be since I was early in my teens when I first learned about it. Quit that, went over there, and I thought, I'll just give it 4 years and serve and do my duty and come back. Well, I fell in love with the military. I absolutely fell in love with it, and I fell in love with being an NCO. And I stayed in for 21 years throughout the entire longest war of our nation's history. I stayed in and just kept serving. And through that time, as difficult as it would be, serving and doing stuff. I achieved my bachelor's in business management, got my master's in transformational leadership, and I have my project management certificate as well too. I really, morphed from wanting to go into the medical field to I loved deep thinking through problems and finding solutions that people don't think about and surprising them. You know what I mean? Just solving problems. I really love solving problems. And that's, as a project manager, which I am now for a Fortune 500 company, I solve problems every day. I do it in the long term, the short term, the near term. I solve problems. And that's what I want to bring to the state is that leadership that I have from 21 years of experience of every leadership position in the military, from team leader all the way up to Operations Sergeant Major. I was not a Sergeant Major, but I held the position.
Okay.
And I went to some training schools on it, so I can claim that I held the seat and did some of the work for it. Well, if the government can put more on your plate and make you responsible for more stuff without paying you for it, they'll gladly do it, right? Sure. And they definitely did that in my case. And I was happy to do it. It was an absolutely great experience. And then since I've been back, managing global projects and seeing how all that works and morphing my skill set from a military style to where in the military, you physically control the space in which people operate. And if they're not doing what you tell them to do, there's serious repercussions that can happen to them because of that. Mm-hmm. But then when you come to civilian side, that's not the case.
Yeah.
I can send you a strongly worded email, and hope you get. So it's a different way of getting buy-in. It's a different way of achieving success, but you have to first identify what success is on whatever it is you're doing. And then you have to plan a roadmap out to that success in order to achieve it. And you got to communicate that out to everyone in the team and make sure that everyone's aware of it and how to go and why it's important and all that stuff and really drive them to the end state of success. We, in politics, and I'm sure you've seen this as well, we have a lot of leaders who define success by the next election.
Yes, they do.
They don't define it as what did they provide for the people? How are your metrics? What are your key performance indicators based on the people of your state and how they're doing, right? Now, they'll look at things that can give them short wins and good talking points, but they never think through the second, third order effects of those. And I'll give you a good example. Little Rock, everyone in Little Rock is running around saying that we are the most pro-life state in the nation because of the repeal of Roe and everything that was enacted after that. On paper, that's true. But there are more babies being killed in Arkansas today than since the repeal of Roe v. Wade because they didn't think through the second, third order effects. Because now, instead of going to a clinic, I can call a doctor in New York or California and have an abortion pill mailed to me, and I can kill my baby in my living room. And that happens. The numbers are, the last year before Roe v. Wade, we had 3,200 babies killed in Arkansas. In 2024, we have 5,360-something babies killed in Arkansas.
Wow.
So it is climbing because now it's easier. It's easier for a woman to order this abortion pill in, not have to drive to the clinic, not have to deal with the crowds, not have to deal with the judgment, not have to talk with family. Comes in the mail, nobody knows about it, takes the pills and go on.
And it's not illegal for an Arkansan to get that.
It's not illegal at all. And we're supposed to be a sovereign state. And the arguments come up with, well, we can't control what other states do. We can't arrest them. We can't do stuff. I was like, well, the federal government made marijuana illegal, and that didn't stop you from selling it as medical marijuana.
Yeah.
In fact, it's still illegal right now, and you're still doing it.
Yeah.
So there's precedent for you doing something like this, right?
Yeah.
And how about you hold the mail carriers accountable? Mm-hmm. What about the post office? They're operating within the borders of the state of Arkansas.
Right.
And they're transporting it. Mm-hmm. And so they're breaking the interstate commerce laws against a sovereign state when they transport that illegal substance into the state. So, but if you really wanted to solve it, you would classify legislatively that abortion is murder, and murder is illegal.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what instrument is used to commit that murder. Both parties are guilty. There's one that's guilty of the murder in first degree, and then there's one that's assisting in it, right? We hear about that all the time. Mm-hmm. Someone gave the gun to someone that they know was going to go and kill them, and 7 ways from Kevin Bacon, they end up getting charged as well. And second degree homicide, fourth degree homicide, whatever degree that they get charged with. So there's precedent for it. And you'll also hear them say a lot right now is that Arkansas is the #1 destination for people to move to, and we are the most affordable state in the union. Well, that's true on paper, but it's a talking point. What are your key performance indicators that you are pointing to define that success? Here's what it is. In reality, people in California, New York, and Illinois are selling multi-million-dollar homes and moving to Arkansas.
Right.
And paying over asking price for a home.
Yes.
That is way more than what they would ever get where they're coming from, and they have a lot of liquidity, and most of the time they're still working remote. So they're drawing the same salary that they were in another state compared to Arkansas livable wages. It's very affordable when you do that.
Sure.
And when you have 330,000 people that move to the state of Arkansas in 1 year from those areas, it's very affordable for them to do it. But what does it do to the native Arkansan? We have the lowest wages in the nation. If not the lowest, the second or third lowest.
Okay.
And we're also #1 for food insecurity. So how can we be the most affordable state in the union if our people can't afford the most basic necessity of life? We have more people on welfare. We have more people on food stamps. We have more people on government subsidies. In fact, you can look up something that's called the ALICE metric. And if you've never heard of that term before, it's Asset Limited Income Comparative Availability. ALICE is what it stands for. To some, what ALICE really means is, can you afford just the basic necessities of life, or is one decision going to impoverish you and leave you without one of the basic necessities, which is food, water, shelter, clothing, things like that, right? The ALICE metric for Arkansas is 47% of Arkansans are on the ALICE metric. I mean, just one little thing will leave them without a sustenance providing ability for them and their families, right?
Okay.
So how are we affordable? We're affordable for everyone that's moving in here, but what does that mean for Arkansans? That means that people that are 4, 5, and 6 generational families living in an area can no longer afford to even live in that area because the housing market has been so influctuated with it, people paying over asking price. And then the businesses and stuff in the area and the utilities get used to this newer level of income coming up, and they raise their prices because people are willing to pay for it. Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations principles work. They still it is what it is, right? Well, that native Arkansan family now has to sell their home because they can't afford to live in that area because the taxes have gone up, the grocery store has gone up, the utilities have gone up, the insurance has gone up. So they get pushed out to the side, and then 5 years later, happens again in the new area they move to, and they get pushed further out until somewhere there's nowhere for them to go.
This sounds very familiar, Randy. It reminds me of Texas, where my daughter lives. You go down there and you see billboards everywhere that say, "Don't California my Texas."
Yeah. Because
they're selling a home, a moderate home out there for $3 million, coming back to Texas and paying, like you said, $50,000 to $75,000 above asking price and taking it away from the average Texan that's living there. Right. That's exactly what's happening in Texas, but you're saying it's happening here in Arkansas as well.
It's happening here at a faster scale. I lived in Texas when that first started. It was happening out, and I lived in Central Texas when you could still have separation between city limits of San Antonio and Austin.
Okay,
and there is no separation now. Oh. It's just insane. But if you go to Northwest Arkansas, Conway, Benton, Pulaski County, Cabot area, you're going to see a lot of license plates from out of states like that, and you go to the churches, and a lot of people have moved in. A lot of them came here for good reasons, right? And they're not trying to do what's happening, but it is what it is. If the average income, household median income in Arkansas is $67,000 a year, right? The average median income for a family in California is $150,000 a year, right? Okay. So more than double. And if they're both continuing to draw that salary and then move to Arkansas, it is extremely affordable for them, but it raises the prices of everything else up. And then there's no issue with the current employers in the state to have to raise their wages up because they're not taking their jobs, right?
I see.
You know what I mean? There's no opportunity issue at all. They're not bringing new employment. The majority of them are not bringing new employment with them. They're not starting businesses. They're not doing that stuff. And they're not, trying to get jobs within the state of Arkansas. So there's no competition there where employers have to raise up the rates to get the best person.
Right. Well, we even saw part of that here in Little Rock when Costco and Amazon came to town. You know, they came in. Yeah, finally. But, you know, what's kind of good, and then there's also kind of bad. Because, you know, I own a small restaurant, okay? And I was losing people to Amazon and Costco.
Yeah.
Because of the ridiculous wages that they came in and offered.
Yep.
And as a small business owner, I cannot offer those.
Right. They were flying from Sam's to go to work for Costco.
Yeah.
So, because when Costco first opened, I, you know, asked some of the employees, hey, where'd you come to work at from? Oh, I came over here from Sam's, man.
Yeah. Yeah. But I kind of think a little bit of that is leveled off. They're starting to kind of come back and saying, well, you know, Costco isn't the magical place that I thought it was. It's kind of like Amazon. I lost a girl to Amazon. Oh, they were going to give her these days specific, this time frame specific. And
not so much.
I looked at her and I said, now they're promising you this, but I need to forewarn you, this isn't exactly how it's going to play out. So I want you to make your decision. I can't afford to pay you what they're offering you, and my hours are what my hours are. I cannot change them.
Yep.
So guess what? She was there for less than, I think it was 30 days, and all of a sudden got changed to nights and different things and all of this. And so anyway, life isn't as grand as
it always levels out, though.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, the marketplace of ideas will sort a lot of stuff out if you let it.
Yeah, I think
that's why
right.
capitalism works.
Yeah, exactly.
And you take a guy like me. When I first retired, I told my employers I will take a reduced salary than what I'm worth for more time with my family because I need to make that up. And that was a conversation that we got to have. I mean, it was a win for them because I knew what I was worth, and they were getting me at a bargain.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But they had to honor their side of the agreement. As well.
Yeah.
You know, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, you kind of looped around back to where we began, and that was your family. What does your wife Kelly think about you running for Secretary of State?
She's the reason why I'm getting to do it. She does not like politics. She abhors politics.
Okay.
But she knows where my heart is, and I explained it to her that we're looking at a situation. We both love Arkansas, and we have 3 young children. And I explained to her, I said, listen, if we don't fix and create an environment in which our children can thrive in this state, we're going to be faced with a situation in 15 years, 20 years, to where we're driving all around the nation to have a relationship with our grandkids.
Yeah.
Because they're going to want to thrive in this world and not just survive. And in order to do it right now, they are going to have to go to Texas, Tennessee, Florida, California, somewhere else in order to do that, right? So we need to figure out a way to create an environment of generational wealth in this state so that our grandbabies are living down the road and not down the interstate.
That's a pretty smart way of
You
looking
see
at
that,
it.
don't you, Larry?
Yeah, I sure
at
do.
home.
Yeah, that's right. My daughter went to Texas, and she said, "Now, Daddy, I'm gonna finish up my master's degree there and all of this, and then we're gonna come back and." You know, yeah. I patted her on the back and I hugged her and I said, it's a great idea. I love it. But you're going to move down there and love it so much, you're going to stay. Trust me.
Now, you want to move down there.
Yeah, I do. If I could pick my restaurant up and move it down there with my staff and.
Well, you can't blame them.
Yeah,
but what are the other effects of that? Like, we have a native Arkansan who's super smart, has her master's degree, and we lost that brain drain to Texas. Because we didn't have the employment ability for them here, right? And how many times are we seeing rinse and repeat of amazing, fantastic, smart, bright, talented, young Arkansans graduating from Fayetteville or UCA or ASU or Lyon College, and they go everywhere else.
They're gone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we're the ones that suffer from it.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
That's exactly what happens to third world countries. And that's why they can never get out of the cyclical and poverty that they have in their nations. Because there's no wealth generating people with the talent to take them out of it because they don't want to deal with it. And they've got the shiny opportunity of the United States of America or Western Europe or Australia or Canada or somewhere else to go to not have to deal with all the issues and make a buttload of money.
Yeah.
So will your position help in this?
Oh,
is
yes.
That what your is that part of your
Yes, that's part of my
goal
platform
and your vision and what you want to do for this state?
Yep. They're
Tell us
linked.
how.
They're linked. So you alluded to a little bit about the duties and responsibilities of the Secretary of State's office, and I'll explain them to him my way. So I like to analyze things myself, and I categorize them as 3 pillars with ancillary responsibilities below. The 3 pillars are elections, business, Capitol grounds.
Okay.
Those are the 3 main posts that you got for the Secretary of State's office. The ancillary ones, and I'll hit them real quick, would be the chief record keeper of the state of Arkansas, which means if you want to find out if something's illegal, if you want to find out if you can do something, if you want to find out a policy, you want to find out something, a regulation, that's where you go to find it. It's very difficult to do that now with the Secretary of State's office, so I want to fix that.
Okay.
And then the other one, which is very, very important, is the redrawing of the district lines after the census, because the Secretary of State is one of 3 members in the state of Arkansas that will do that. And for the first time in our state's history, just now, 52% of our population lives in urban Arkansas, which means whoever redraws the next district lines after the next census can either move and centralize all the power to Northwest Arkansas, Little Rock, and Jonesboro areas, right? Central Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas, Northeast Arkansas, if they chose to. So if you look at the map right now, there's 4 Senate seats that touch Little Rock. Why? That's 4 members in the legislature that are just concerned about Little Rock because that's their voting base.
Yeah.
And don't give a crap about everything out to the north, south, east of it, right? If you extrapolate that and you do that, let's say now you have 6 in Little Rock and now you have 6 in Northwest Arkansas and now you have 6 in Northeast Arkansas that all touch Jonesboro, Little Rock, and the Fayetteville Metroplex area. You control the Senate now just from those 3 locations. So you may not get everything you want through, but you can stop everything. Everybody's got to deal with you. The dynamics of the state is changed. And I don't want to see that. I don't want to see rural Arkansas become not even an afterthought anymore. Right now, we're kind of an afterthought. They pay us a little bit of attention, but we're kind of an afterthought. I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
That's the heart and soul of this state, and we need to make sure that they're representative. And we are supposed to be a representative government and state, so that's what we owe them.
Well,
right?
and your Northwest Arkansas, your Jonesboro,
they all have different needs.
Yeah, they do. And from Little Rock, there's a whole lot of space that is extremely rural.
Yes.
I mean, so I can see what you're talking about. Yeah. I had no idea that the Secretary of State would be the one.
A lot of people don't. Secretary of State's a very important position. So, and my platform goes all kind of, they chain together a little bit. Now there's the Capitol grounds that's a loose chain, but I'll say it's a chain.
Okay.
So number 1, I hit on, I want to create generational wealth in this state. Why? Well, we talked a little bit about it, but here's where you can bring it down by the numbers. My home was built in 1979. It sold for $83,000. 42 years later, I purchased that home for $272,000. That's a 430% increase. The average wage in Batesville, Arkansas in 1979 was $28,000 to $32,000 a year. The average wage in Batesville, Arkansas today is $35,000 to $40,000 a year. That's an 8 to 15% increase in wages versus a 430% increase on your house.
Yeah.
If we don't, the only way to fix that is by bringing more money in. And you can only bring more money in if you bring more opportunity, which will influx the wage market, right? If we don't start to figure that out, our kids and grandkids are going to be choosing between renting from BlackRock or Vanguard. That's going to be their options in life, right? The American dream will not just be a maybe, it'll be an impossibility for them because you won't be able to own property, and without the property, you can't have the American dream. And it'll have ancillary effects on everything because taxes will go up, family farms will start to disappear, and everything about our state will change drastically. The only way to change that is to bring money into this state and to bring generational, because most of the people in my age group and your age group have made the most major financial decisions that you're going to make in your life, right? So if we can influx capital into this state to where you treat it responsibly and you invest it and you do the right thing, and then you can gift your children the ability to gap that difference and afford property and afford home ownership and start out life in a better way, that's the only way to break it in the near term. And then as we elevate the wages up and we bring more opportunity into the state and we create a culture of job growth, excellence, recruitment, drive, initiatives, all of this stuff, just like Governor Abbott has done in Texas, which is a phenomenal, what he has done with business in the state of Texas,
yes,
textbooks need to be written about because the man is brilliant when it comes to bringing money into the state. So I don't want to rewrite the book. I want to go and copy some of the things that he's done and bring them to the state, and I want to beat them at their own game and be better at it.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason. If you look at a map, look at the United States. The largest wealth drain to ever happen in our nation's history happened during COVID, and it happened from businesses leaving California, New York, and the upper Midwest and going to other places. Well, where did they go? They went to Texas, they went to Tennessee, and they went to Florida, and they just bypassed Arkansas. They'd go from California and go to Tennessee and Florida. They'd come down and bypass Arkansas and go to Texas, skip us and go over to Tennessee and Florida and vice versa, straight past us and from New York and down to Texas. Why? We're more centrally located. We have more natural resources, especially when it comes to water. We have a better climate than Texas does. We have great road infrastructure to get out to the rest of the United States. We have good railheads. We have good airports, and we have navigable waterways to international waters, just like Texas does via the Mississippi.
Yeah.
Pretty much any corner of the state, you can get to the Gulf of Mexico via the waterways. So why would they bypass us up? It's because our business climate sucks.
Well, okay, so let me bring something up while we're on this subject. When I first moved here, I was blown away because I was told that Little Rock, Arkansas, had the opportunity to have FedEx.
Yep. They did.
Okay, first and foremost. Turned it down because we didn't want to keep the airport.
They didn't turn it down.
Open.
They forced that man to go to Memphis. So there was regulators and inspectors that constantly went over and kept messing with that man. And Mr. Fred said, "I'm done," and he left. The final straw was 8 inches of concrete poured over a property line. Just 8 inches. When he got the survey from the county.
Yeah.
And they said, "You're good to this line." And he poured to that line. And then they came out, the inspector said, "You're 8 inches over." And he said, "I'm done."
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Was that Little Rock?
That was Little Rock. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I deal with Little Rock inspectors a little bit.
You know, and it's good. And this is one thing. So you got a politician, and I'm not a politician, but let's say you have an elected official that comes in and he really wants to do the right thing, right? And he's trying really hard, but he stays in his office. And he thinks that everybody's listening to him and doing what he says, and he never gets out and checks. Well, I learned in the military, the only way to make sure that dude is staying awake at 2:30 in the morning on guard duty in his foxhole when he's been working all day and he's exhausted is to get up myself and go and check.
Okay.
So I will not be in office sitting Secretary of State.
Yeah.
I will be in your county clerk's offices. I will be meeting with businesses all across the state, and I will be finding out what's the issues from the inspectors.
Okay.
Why are you having so many hurdles? Why are we not able to do more? And then I want to try to find a way to solve those problems from the source.
Hey, folks, we are up to we're up to our time limit that I kind of like to have for an episode. Are you running off anywhere, Brian?
No,
because we're unpacking a whole lot of stuff here. And so if you'll let me land this plane for this episode, we're going to end this episode, and we're going to come back for part 2 with Brian. And so it will actually air tomorrow. Right after this episode, we'll release it again for the next day. And so please come back, and we're going to jump right in with Brian, give him plenty of time. We're unpacking a whole lot of stuff that I think is pretty good for us to talk particularly about here in Arkansas. So come back and see us. We'll see you again. Have a wonderful day.